In the quiet savannas of western Burkina Faso, nestled in the remote province of Bouclé du Mouhoun, a little boy named Ibrahim Traoré grew up beneath the sun-scorched skies. His home was a modest clay house, its walls cracked by time and weather, but filled with the warm laughter of his family. The fields around him stretched far, dotted with baobab trees and cattle, and the air always carried the smell of dust and burning firewood. Ibrahim was not born into privilege. His parents were subsistence farmers, resilient and prayerful people who believed in hard work, honesty, and community. His mother, Awa, would often say, "The one who will carry the nation must first carry water from the well." These words clung to Ibrahim's heart like scripture. As a boy, he walked barefoot for kilometers to attend a small village school. He sat on wooden benches with other boys and girls, using charcoal when there was no chalk, and listening attentively to every word the teacher uttered. Even at a young age, his eyes burned with questions no one could answer. Why are we so poor? Why is there so much suffering? Why do people with power forget the people without? His teachers noticed his brilliance and discipline. They said he read like a man 10 years older and that his curiosity was not normal. It was urgent, driven like a fire beneath the skin. When he completed secondary school, he earned a scholarship to the University of Ouagadougou. It was a long way from the dusty footpaths of his village. In the city, he encountered a different world: wealth, inequality, politics, and unrest. But instead of losing his roots, he became more determined to rise, not for himself, but for his people. It was during this time that the seed of soldierhood was planted in him. Burkina Faso was bleeding, struck by waves of terrorism, corruption, and foreign influence. Villages were burned. Women were raped. Children disappeared. The army, often under-resourced and demoralized, struggled to fight back. "I will become a soldier," Ibrahim declared one night, his eyes fixed on the flickering light of a kerosene lamp. But not to wear a uniform. To be a shield for the voiceless. Joining the army was not easy. The training was brutal, both physical and mental. But Ibrahim excelled. His endurance was unmatched. His leadership instincts were natural. His moral compass was unshakable. He was deployed to the volatile north, where militant groups controlled large areas and the government's presence was just a rumor. There, he saw horrors that carved trenches in his soul. He saw mothers crying over the bodies of sons. He saw soldiers who hadn't been paid in months. He buried his comrades in shallow graves, their eyes still wide with disbelief. But he also saw bravery. He saw farmers who refused to abandon their land. He saw children carrying water to soldiers. And it was here, in the crucible of war, that Ibrahim Traoré became not just a captain, but a protector of hope. His reputation spread like wildfire. The men under his command said he was fearless. He never sent soldiers into places he wouldn't go himself. In the middle of ambushes, he was the first to fire and the last to retreat. In time, his unit became known for reclaiming territories others had given up on. Villagers whispered his name with reverence. They said, "He is one of us. He fights like he carries our suffering in his chest." Back in Ouagadougou, the nation was in crisis. The people had lost faith in the government. Foreign troops were on the ground, but insecurity grew. Many believed their leaders were puppets, more concerned with foreign approval than the cries of their own people. Captain Traoré watched silently. He attended briefings with generals who had forgotten the faces of dying children. He listened to politicians speak of strategy while sipping imported wine. But inside him, a storm was growing. One day, he returned from a mission to find his request for basic supplies denied for the third time. His men were dying for a country that no longer seemed to care. That night, he didn't sleep. He wrote in his notebook the words that would shape his destiny. A nation that forgets its people deserves a leader who remembers them. It was September 2022. Whispers of rebellion filled the army barracks. The president had failed. Soldiers were hungry. The people were angry. Something had to change. In a quiet meeting room, dimly lit and surrounded by loyal officers, Captain Ibrahim Traoré spoke plainly. "I do not seek power. But I cannot remain a slave to silence. If we allow this country to die, our children will curse our names. It is time." And with that, a coup began, not with tanks rolling down boulevards, but with a captain's decision to step into the fire. The world watched in shock. A young officer, barely known to the outside world, had overthrown a government. But in the villages and towns of Burkina Faso, celebrations broke out. People danced in the streets. Drums echoed across the plains. "Captain Ibrahim Traoré is one of us," they cried. Now president, he entered a different battlefield, one of diplomacy, economics, and politics. But his philosophy remained the same: Burkina Faso first. Always. He removed the country from military alliances that did not serve its interest. He called out the exploitation of Africa by foreign powers. He reinvested in local agriculture, empowered youth, and encouraged Pan-African solidarity. He refused to live in luxury while the people still suffered. Of course, the road was not smooth. He faced sanctions. Western media painted him as a dictator. But to many Africans, he became a symbol of resistance, a modern Thomas Sankara, bold enough to say no to neocolonialism. He traveled the country by road, not by helicopter, to see the people with his own eyes. He sat with elders. He visited orphanages. He spoke to children as if they were ministers. And every time he addressed the nation, he began with the same phrase: "I am your son. I am your brother. I am your servant." The fire that never died. Years passed. The world changed. But the story of Ibrahim Traoré, the boy from the dusty village who became the people's president, remained etched in the hearts of Burkinabe. In schools, children recited his speeches. In towns, murals were painted of him in his red beret and tiger-stripe fatigues. Mothers told their sons, "Be like Captain Traoré, not for power, but for purpose." And in the quiet hours of the night, when the wind rustled through the baobab trees, one could almost hear the whisper of his mother's voice: "The one who will carry the nation must first carry water from the well."